What's up, everybody? What's up, Team B? As you can see here, we're back into that warm-up, so let's get everybody into it. Working on windmills. This is the same warm-up as the last series, just copied over here, so no big deal if you notice that this is the exact same. Promise you, it's not going to be the same workout, but it is the same warm-up. So get you guys into your windmills here. And I just want to start warming up all of the important mechanisms that will be related to what you'll be doing. So as you can see, just follow what you're seeing on the screen, but I want you to add some components here. So pull in that stomach, navel retraction, and start warming up and engaging your core musculature. Okay, so we'll work on that here, and as you can see, bringing those hands up and down, just really warming up the whole upper body and getting the hips going as well. Alright, prepping, let's head off into hip flexion. There's a good angle. Pull in that stomach again, make sure your weight is centered in your heels. And again, we're working on just bringing those arms out and in, crisscross. Here we're working on rotation through the upper back while keeping your hips stable. So you don't want to get any movement in the hips, so keep that locked in and just move through the upper back. Suck in that stomach once again, and in this position here, you want to be really secure into your heels, so make sure your feet are wide enough. Just work through this. Let's get this warm up going, guys. So at this point now, let's work on some external rotation. So warming up the shoulder girdle. Here now we're just, doing some rapid punches. Just getting the heart rate up just a little bit more, picking up that tempo. So really start working through the balls of your feet. See my hands there, so you want to get rotation. So let's raise up the knees higher and then do a little bit of a pause, so we will work on coordination and balance and stability. So at this point here, this is really good. You're going to be firing up those stabilizer muscles to help keep you stable through this process. So one thing, you're going to have to suck in that stomach again. You'll always hear that from me because it's a cue that it's easy just to neglect, and it's critical to movement. So let's jump into your jumping jacks. Here we'll just be horizontally adducting, so you're going to clap towards the level of your chest, and work on externally rotating that as well too. So pull it in, balls of your feet, so be nice and light. You're shifting now here. So we're going to work on just opening up the hips and some more rotation through the thoracic spine, so the upper back. So we're working on a couple of components here at once. So this is great to get into this type of an extension into the hip complex and rotation at the same time. A lot of times it's really important just to open up those muscles on the front, the anterior side of your hips. So we're talking about the hip flexors that help bring your knees up. So really good workout there. I think at this point now we're gonna just again work through stretching the muscles of the hips. Here is the inside, so the adductors or the groin muscles that articulate into the hip bone. And then right now here we'll just transition into more rotational work. As you can see, some serious limitations. So I want you guys to really try to get some good symmetry. Make sure that hand on the ground is directly underneath the shoulders for me, guys. So drop back here, good hip flexion. And when you come up, tuck tailbone under. So pull in that stomach, and then you want to rotate pelvis towards your face. Sit back. You want to take a look here. Are you comfortable in the back of your heels? Are you still mid-foot? Are you squatting on toes? Take a look at all those things. It's good to work them out right now, okay? Suck in that stomach right now, and come on up and truly extend through the hips. Don't overarch at the top there, relying on the lumbar spine. So let's do a little bit more jogging on the spot. A little bit more jumping jacks never hurt nobody, right? So let's work through this process here too for me. Alright, good. So warm up is almost done, guys. And let's get into the workout. All right, before we can actually get into this training, I'm gonna need to prime you a little bit more specifically before we can get into it. So, we did a good warm-up, but you also need to do specific warm-ups related to the exercises that you're going to be going into. So there we go, we're just moving. Now we're going to go into reverse lunges. So my stomach is in, my chest is up, my hands are pretty close to my trunk for center of gravity. Really kicking that leg out back. That's just a balance though. Make sure when you kick that leg out backwards though, that you're braking as well. So don't keep that leg stiff and straight, right? Good job, guys. Here we go, workout time. So start with one leg. There's your right side. Then you're going to lateral. You got to switch that leg pretty quick. It's pretty tricky, so figure that out. Take a look at that and how I switch legs there. Here we go, and because we want to work on that one leg at a time, right? So let's keep going. You can tell your rep scheme. So stay focused here. Really work on going through flexion through those hips and not so much more on the knees. So here we go, kick back. Do you notice that? How I go reverse through the hips? Look, I'm gonna go forward and then I go reverse through the hips. So you gotta go into hip flexion so that when you go through your movements, you're not relying so heavily on the knees. So suck in that stomach, work through it for me, guys. You're doing awesome. Okay, bent over dumbbell rows. So head back into that nice athletic hip flexion or hip hinge. Pull in that stomach, sit back into the heels. And when you're doing this, work on retracting the upper back as the basis for this movement. Don't focus so much on flexion through the elbows. Think about engaging the back muscles for me and keeping your stomach tight and sucked in, especially here. This will reinforce some good biomechanics. We'll work on some lateral steps to toe touches. So 5 lateral steps, and then we end up doing 3 toe touches, even though it doesn't seem like I'm doing that right off the hop, but I want you guys to do that. So here we go. Every 2 step is 1, right? So every step, which involves 2 steps, that you count that as 1. And here we go, kicking back. We kind of already primed you guys for proper hip flexion into this reverse lunge position. So we're really getting dynamic here, getting the heart rate up, working the cardiovascular system. But the good news is that heavy emphasis on our kinetic chain or our muscular system, and so you're getting a better cardiovascular response. You're getting a better caloric expenditure because you're not going into steady state. All right, so you're almost done. Okay, that's the circuit. I need you to repeat it times 3 and then head into this next giant set. Alright, so this is pretty cool, Running Man. Basically here we're working on a lot of things at once, but what we are doing is making you better as a walker and as a runner. So we're training your gait cycle under tension or under load. We're working stability, balance, integration, and sequencing. So we're really focusing on driving through the glutes here and doing this one at a time. So a unilateral movement is going to allow you to have a balanced full development rather than doing it on 2 feet where one side is going to compensate and take over without you realizing. So it's very tough, but as you get to practice this, we can go into some good progressions. So check that out there. As you can see how I'm working out, and if you got to pause it and figure it out, but you got to make sure that the sequencing is done right. So basically, if you're on your left leg, you'll be driving you're going to have that right hand out for reciprocity at the beginning and vice versa. So just hang in there, get this done, take a look at the video. You're doing all right. Alright, lateral push-ups, alright? Make sure those hands come a little bit closer to the torso when you're getting down into elbow flexion. Don't let that body dip. Stay nice and parallel. Your fulcrum is your feet, okay? Don't dip. Don't let the lumbar, do some weird stuff. Just work through this. Don't go too low so you can keep good integrity for me. You guys got this. Suck in that stomach. You know how we do. Alright, so here we're going to be working your core system through hip rotation and then those transverse muscles within the core of your body, the most internal layer. So lead with the legs and then through the core. Make sure it's diagonal. Don't do no dip like you're golfing or anything like that. Nice diagonal line. Lead with the hips, okay? And then transition to the balls of your feet. Keep that stomach tight for me. Stomach must be tight to stabilize, and then you'll get rotation through the other layers of your core. So your oblique, and work through it. It's really metabolic and it's really healthy as well. Well done. Alright, that's awesome. Listen to this now. You do this, you finish the 3 circuits, you gotta repeat it times 3, and then you're done. Enjoy.